welcome to my creative space. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I'm doing 3 very cool interchangeable fall and Christmas decor pieces. I hope you are as excited as I am. I also hope you will consider to subscribe to my channel and join my creative squad. Without further ado, let's get started. For this DIY, I will be using this red truck from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be trimming down the pumpkins that are actually sticking out on this frame, as well as the top part of the truck. And I'm going to remove the little cord that comes to hang this with. And I will be trimming down the pieces. So now I have 2 pieces. I'm gonna grab this sanding sheet to sand down the glitter that is on the words. I'm gonna grab my spackling and filling the holes. This is a very extra step, but I think it made a difference. I'm gonna grab this red paint and mix it with a little black to make a little bit darker red color for my truck. And I'm gonna paint over my 2 pieces. I'm gonna grab this piece of foam board that I had on hand, and I'm gonna trace 2 long triangles. Once I have my triangles, I'm gonna grab these and glue them to the back of my truck, at the bottom portion of the truck. Once those are glued down, I'm going to take the top part of my truck and glue a little bit at the bottom of the truck to make sure that is going to be still showing up and giving the look of a truck. Now I'm taking an extra piece of foam board and cutting it into a rectangle that is going to go at the bottom and create that pocket to hold the stuff that I'm gonna stuff in there. Alright, this is what my little pocket looks like, and now I'm going to grab the same red paint that I used for my truck and paint that over because I don't want that to show once it's hanged. Okay, now I'm going to bring back all the details of the truck, and I'm going to use brown, black, and white paint. And I apologize because I don't have the whole video on how I bring back all the details. I am so sorry. I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. And here is what my truck looks like once I was done bringing back all the details. Now I'm going to grab this foam, floral foam, and I'm going to stick it inside my little pocket, and I'm gonna trim it because it didn't fit. So I just trimmed down the pieces that I needed, and now I have it inside. Now I'm going to grab this Spanish moss, and I'm gonna stuff it inside my little pocket. Okay, so I'm gonna be using 3 of this foam pumpkins that I already had on hand that I used on a past project, and I'm going to be painting 2 orange and 1 brown, and those are gonna be my decoration pieces for my truck. I also had these wooden squares that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be creating hay packs with this. I'm gonna take 6 of them and create a rectangle, and then I'm gonna take this little scarecrow that I already had and trim off the little dry hay-like hair that this scarecrow had, and I'm gonna use that to create my hay packs. This is what it looks like once I was done. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my wooden pallets that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's 2 packs, and each pack comes with 6. I'm gonna glue the 9 pieces together to create a frame where my truck is going to sit. And to be able to glue those together, I'm gonna use this popsicle sticks to help them stick together. As you can see, I added extra popsicle sticks to make sure that my frame was going to be secure. Now I'm grabbing this brown and black paint and mixing it together to create a darker brown color, and I'm gonna paint my wood pieces. This is actually a very sheer paint, and it kind of looks like a stain instead. Alright, now I'm gonna use this white paint to paint the edges to give it a distressed look. Now I'm taking this wooden arrow and I'm going to remove the arrow portion of it and leave it as a rectangle, and I'm going to be using my spackling to fill in the indentions that this wood has. Okay, for my fall side, I spray painted it brown, and I'm going to use this white paint to give it a distressed look. I'm also going to be using a sanding sheet and sanding it down to give it more of a distressed look. And I will be using this burlap ribbon that I already had and put it on the edges to give it a nicer look to it. For the Christmas side, I decided to spray paint it gold, and I'm going to be using these ties to put on the edges of the Christmas side. Okay, once I was done gluing that down, I decided to trim down the edges because when I was using the fall side, you could still see them and I didn't want to be able to see them. All right, I'm taking this red glitter glue and I'm going to be writing on this part, Merry Christmas, and then I'll let it dry. For the fall side, I'm going to be using these stickers that I found at the Dollar Tree, and it says give thanks. I'm going to be using those and sticking them to the fall side. I actually separated the two words and then glued them individually with hot glue because the sticky part on this was not very strong. So I just hot glued them down, and this is what it looks like once it was done. Okay, now I'm gonna take these beads that I already had on hand and this rope, and I'm going to create a hanger for my sign and be able to switch it back and forth when I need to. Now I'm just going to take that and glue that into place. Now it's time to start putting everything together, so I'm going to glue down my truck. Now that that is done, I'm taking this thumbtack and I'm going to be putting it on my frame to be able to hang my sign. Now that that is done, I tested it to see if it was gonna hold, and it looks awesome. It's time to decorate my little truck, so I take my two little haystacks and then I just stick them in there, and then I just started arranging my pumpkins that I created, and I also added some little pine cones and some of those little berries that I already had on hand, a couple of leaves. Now I'm taking this mini wreath that I found and I'm gonna take off all the Christmas decorations that come with it, and I'm actually gonna trim it down because it was a little bigger and I want this to fit the back of my truck. And I am going to glue down some of this nautical rope to cover the green part, and after that I'm gonna add some Spanish moss to finish and covering all that stuff. And then once I was happy with that, I glued down this little bow and I also added some mini pine cones to it to decorate it. Now to be able to hang it, I just added a piece of rope on the back and added a lot of hot glue on there. And here is what my fall truck looked like. I think it's super adorable. Now moving on to the Christmas one, nothing was glued down, so I just took all that stuff out and then I added this little Christmas trees. And to make my mini wreath look Christmassy, I added some of this white berries, I think they're called, and I just trimmed them down and glued them back on to make them a little bit shorter because they were kind of too tall and they were not going with the proportions of this wreath. And then I just added this green pieces that came with the wreath. Nothing is glued down. It's something that I'm able to just switch if I need to. And then I added this extra big pine cone to the middle of the frame. Oh, I'm sorry, the wreath, and then I just hanged it back on the truck. I added this jingle bell, and as you can see, I added a lot of these bamboo sticks to be able to just stick them in the foam, floral foam, and be able to remove them as needed. I also did the exact same thing to the pine cone, and then I added this gold sticks that I found or I already had on hand, and then I took these 3 leaves and glued them closer together, added some berries, and that is all I did with my red truck. And here is what it looks like as a Christmas theme. I love this little truck. I think it's so adorable. Please let me know in the comments below if you like it. For the welcome sign, I'm going to be using 6 of these signs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove the ribbon that comes to hang this with, and I'm also going to be removing the silver pumpkins and saving those for later. Now I'm going to be using popsicle sticks to glue my pieces together, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that if you do this, please glue your popsicle sticks vertically, because I did mine horizontally and that did not work so well for me, so I end up adding a lot more after that. Once all my pieces were together, I added spackling to the holes of this, and then I sent them down to make them smoother. And then once that was done, I used this creamy color paint to paint my pieces, or I guess my soon-to-be sign. Okay, I'm gonna be using these stencils that I've had for like 2 years and I've only used like a couple of times, and I'm gonna cut them and I'm going to start placing them on my sign, and then I will be taking this black paint to paint my words, or I guess my letters with. All right, let's add some fun to this sign. I'm gonna be taking 2 packs of this Christmas battery operated lights that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna be marking where I want the holes to go. Now I'm gonna take this drill and I'm going to be creating the holes, because that is where my Christmas lights are gonna go through to be able to make it light up. All right, once I'm done creating the holes, I'm going to move on to creating, or I guess adding my Christmas lights. So I'm gonna flip it over and I'm going to start sticking my Christmas lights in the holes. And to secure them, I will be using hot glue. I also glue down my battery boxes, and I just make sure that the part where I unscrew to replace the batteries is facing me and not glued down. This is what my sign looks like with the lights on. I think it's so cute, but it's time to add the fall decoration. So I'm gonna take the pumpkins that I removed earlier from the signs, and I'm gonna start placing them and see where I want each thing to go. I also have these leaves that I'm also going to be placing, and to secure this stuff, I'm going to be gluing it down because it's very easy to remove when I go to replace it for Christmas. So I created an extra hole right there. I'm gonna use one of the pumpkins to cover that up, but yeah, I'm just gonna glue down all the pieces together. Once all my pieces are glued down, I'm going to use this nautical rope and start adding this to the top part of my sign. I didn't add a lot of glue, just a little bit on the corners to hold my rope in place, and I just did it on the very first part, and then when I was done, I glued down the back of it just to make sure it was going to be secure. I created this bow with a burlap ribbon I had, and then to hang it and be able to remove it, I grabbed this paper clip and I just glue it in there and created a hook to be able to easily remove it and replace it when I need to. And then I had this sunflower that I just added to my bow, and I tested it and it works. I love this and it's not gonna go anywhere. So that's what it looks like. Here is what it looks like when I was all completed with it. I think it turned out super cute. What do you think? For the Christmas theme of this sign, I'm going to take 2 of these ties and I'm gonna tie them together to create a small wreath. I also created a Christmas bow with some Christmas ribbon that I had left from past projects, and then I glued that into place. Now I also added the paperclip hook to be able to just stick it on the sign when I need to. And then to the wreath, I added some of these small pine cones and some of those white berries. To replace the decorations on the sign, I'm going to be replacing them with these super cute snowflakes and these little Christmas flowers, and I'm going to be basically just removing the fall decorations once I'm done with fall, and I'm going to be replacing them with the Christmas one, and I'm also just going to be gluing them into place like I did the fall leaves and pumpkins on my sign. Okay, so when I was removing the fall decorations, some of the paint did come off, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to be placing new decorations on top of that, so it's going to get covered with that. But if it's something that bothers you, you can always use hooks or nails or something and add some hangers to your decorations so you're not removing the paint. But for me, it was fine. This is what it looks like once it was all completed, and I think it turned out really cute. Here is what it looks like at night. I think it's adorable. Let me know what you think. Alright, for this DIY, I'm going to be recycling my last year's countdown to Christmas sign that I created. It is a piece of wood, but you could recreate this easily with a foam board. I painted it black for the purpose of the interchangeable situation, and I'm going to be using the sticks because that's where my countdown pieces are going to sit. And I got these sticks from Hobby Lobby, but I know all the hardware stores and Walmart has them too, so you could use those, or you could also use foam board if you're using foam board for your sign. Once all of those pieces are together, I'm going to grab, I actually use 6 packs of these wooden numbers, but you could draw them if you have pretty writing. That's not my case. My writing is actually pretty ugly, so I'm gonna use these, but I did end up using 6 packs of this, so you go with whatever is best for you. Once I'm done placing all my numbers, I'm going to start gluing them into place with just hot glue. I decided to not paint it mine because they look good to me, but you could always paint them whatever color. And this is what it looks like once I was done gluing them into place. Now I'm taking this piece of wood from the Dollar Tree, and that is going to be my flip sign that I'm going to create. One side is going to be Christmas, the other side is going to be Halloween. All right, I'm taking the stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using these to create the words days until. Again, my writing is not the best, so this is why I'm using stickers, but if you have pretty writing, I'm sure you can do it with your hands. But anyway, once I'm done placing those on my board, I'm going to add some of this red glitter glue to give it more dimension to them, and this is what it looks like. Now I need to let it dry and move on to my sign. For one side, I'm going to paint it orange, which is going to be the Halloween side, and I'm going to use this paint from the Dollar Tree. All right, now I'm taking this orange paint that I already had. It's a glittery, not orange, I'm sorry, purple paint. And it wasn't glittery enough for me, so I did end up adding some purple glue that I already had. And then I just wrote on my sign Halloween. As you can see, my writing is not the best. But then I just went over with Sharpie and just to mark my letters. Even and make them darker. And now I'm going to be using the stickers that I already had. They came from the Dollar Tree, so I'm just adding those to give my sign more of a Halloween look to it. For my Christmas side, I used this acrylic red paint, and I just traced with pencil Christmas on it, and then used that glitter glue to make my words pop more. And then I used some of those green ties to create a frame for my words, and then I just added a tiny bow to the right bottom corner. Here is what my Halloween countdown looks like. I just took some of those packs of rings that the Dollar Tree sells. I wanted this to be interactive for my daughter. I did created these signs for her, and she loves it. And it's so easy to switch the theme. You just turn around the sign, and now you have a Christmas countdown. And I just used these stickers that also came from the Dollar Tree and just set them on my little wood pieces, and they look adorable. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of these was your favorite, and if you're going to be trying any of them, please don't forget to subscribe and give my video a thumbs up, and I will see you on my next DIY. Bye.